In the studio today, here on the Bridge, it is Porches, the ongoing project of Aaron Maine. The new album, Domino. On Domino is Shirt, and they're playing tonight at the Record Bar. Aaron, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
So, you are an artist that's in a constant state of reinvention. I think that's fair to say. But there was like a turning point when you started playing live post-pandemic.
Yep. I think that first tour after the pandemic, when it felt at times like maybe there would never be live music again or whatever. Yeah, just being in a room full of people playing music, and it really made me realize how important that piece of being an artist and being in a band is. It sort of completes the whole cycle of writing and recording and spending all that time alone and rehearsing, and then it sort of feels complete when we get to share it with people in real life. So that tour felt really electric and like we were struck by a lightning bolt. It just felt so beautiful to actually get to be touring and playing live music again, and I think that inspired a lot of this new record. Was just sort of imagining, types of songs that would be as ecstatic to kind of play in a live room and energized and loud and raw and stuff. So
you went from imagination to taking these songs out and playing them live. How's that paid off?
It's felt really nice so far. Yeah, it was hard to believe that it would ever happen for like the year that it was booked, but it's been nice to be out here and turning it up and playing these songs.
You were so associated with synths for a while, and this is guitar forward, and you've talked about making this one a little bit weirder and a little bit darker. And I think the whole part of that narrative that I really respond to is that you wanted to be comfortable with discomfort, and you were looking for things that sort of rubbed up against each other, a little friction in the music.
Yeah. It did feel interesting to sort of, rather than sort of try and navigate around these weirder, deeper, darker emotions, to kind of come up with some brighter, more pastel-y song, and actually spend some time with those feelings and embrace them and sort of put those forward instead of pretending like they don't exist. I feel like a lot of people experience, these things that we're talking about, and it feels good and kind of scary to kind of sing about it and talk about it, but I think it's can be make you feel less alone or something when you share it with other people that feel the same things.
We're talking with Aaron Maine of Porches today on the Bridge. You really, there's the grunge element of all of this, but it just seemed like a juxtaposition to me that, like, when you write, you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and go in for the work day.
Yeah, I feel like a construction worker sometimes, and with my cup of coffee, and I like to sort of feel like I am taking part in the work day, and it's sort of like the first thing I want to do when I wake up. So I just run out of the door. Lucky enough to get to go to the studio and quote unquote work on music as much as I possibly can, and so there's a bunch of songs in the bank.
So you have made so many of your albums just in your apartment, but then you went and got this essentially basement space where it was a rehearsal space, and no windows, no personal effects. It was almost like a weird kind of isolation. With as well as things had worked in your apartment, why did you choose to do that?
My girlfriend moved in. So
I'm sorry about the question.
The music stuff had to move out. But honestly, no, I had been wondering for a long time what that would be like to kind of separate the living space and the music making space. And the day that I moved in, I was actually like terrified. I was like, what if this just doesn't work? You know, I'd never done anything like it, but it ended up being a really special space, and I think that it had a lot to do with how the record ended up sounding, just being cut off from the world, and I wasn't surrounded by like my mail or my bills or my bed or my girlfriend or anything like that. So I felt really in my own little freaky world down there. So yes, I'm going to try and hold on to that space as long as I can. It's a good vibe down there.
This is maybe the weirdest question I've ever asked, but did you have any basement experiences when you were growing up?
Well, yeah, when I was living at my mom's house, I had set up sort of like a 4-track. That's where I would record music. I feel like kind of typically that's where the furthest place away you could go, that's the quietest. It bugs the least amount of people, you know, if you're making a racket in the basement. But yeah, it feels good. It's like right in the middle of Soho, which is this kind of crazy old cobblestone streets and all these luxury stores and stuff, and it feels kind of cool to be like beneath it, like this little basement dweller, like they have no idea what's going on 6 feet beneath them. It feels kind of mischievous in a way. Boy, you're my boy, I watch your fingers on your skirt, spat pretty close. I wanna touch you at the moon tonight. I wanna watch you take control tonight. You always call it sap, girl, pick around. There's someone hiding in the barn box, call my wife. Dream the one about the good tonight. Dream the one about you most tonight. You always call it shades in the rain. Silence standing next to me. Someone's in the hall. I'm actually kinda scared. Don't know where I am. World's getting sick of us. Back in the head. Dogs biting extra nice. Fat, let's hold them down. I push the bullet in the fruit, meat through a cow. I recognize you from the pound in the yard. I really hope I see you around tonight. You always call it gas pack, run away, but just go with it. It's a freak show anyway. And if you wanna make it hurt today, yeah, well go ahead and make it hurt, okay, yeah. You always call it shades in the rain. Sally standing next to me. Someone's in the hall. Don't think I'm paranoid. Don't know where I am. World's getting sick of us. Bad in the head. Dogs biting extra nice. Thank you. It's kind of early for that song.
So you grew up in an arts-based family. Your dad is a musician, your mom a dancer, and so. But I think the biggest question I have about your childhood is, does growing up in a town called Pleasantville set up unrealistic expectations
for the rest of the world? It definitely was a very picturesque place to grow up, kind of a New York suburb through and through. And for a while, I kind of joked that I would never leave the town. I was kind of happy going to the same coffee shop and living at my mom's house. And then she sold the house, and I had to move out, and I ended up in New York. And the second I landed in the city, I was just totally fell in love with it. And I might be a lifer as far as living in New York City goes.
As much as New York City has influenced your music, there's a lot of your youth in this record too.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what this album is about, and I think I learn a lot when I get to talk to people about it and kind of hear what they've thought or what they've taken away from it. And it's pretty abstract, you know. It's not really about any specific experiences I had when I was a kid, but I do think a lot of the scenery, and I think because it was guitar music and I grew up playing guitar music in bands and stuff, that maybe because I was also in the basement, I didn't see the city, so I sort of was forced to use my imagination even more, and I kept finding myself in these sort of suburban/rural scenarios with grass and fences and dirt and mud and these sort of characters that emerged. So something about it felt like connected to my childhood or the places that I grew up spending my time. You felt to hear the mask and cord. You hung across upon the door. And do you promise that you're sure? Now everyone's so insecure. You like to pray. I'm happy when you find my face. It takes me to a special place. Most of all, I think they're fake. This puppet doctor let the lady know how to act. I'll give you everything back. I'll hurt myself until you laugh. A blossom push you to the cracks, and now we only dress in black. I'd like to tie you in a bow. When mom and dad go to the show, I'll roll my bike and kill my toe. Now everybody has to know. You make me itch, 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 itch. Wow. I'll pick you up and we can ditch. It doesn't matter what you do. We'll drive around a little bit. Just push your hand around my wrist. Pray, pray. Thank you. That's our song called Itch. off of our new album called Shirt.
Aaron Maine of Porches is our guest today on The Bridge. The new album is out on Domino. It is called Shirt. They're playing tonight at Record Bar. Shirt actually started out as, well, that would be a good band name.
Yep. You knew that?
Yeah. It was just a guess.
That's cool. Yeah, I think me and my friends made the joke like 7 years ago, and I finally got the chance to to call the album Shirt. It felt appropriate.
You know, when you make an album pretty much by yourself, I mean, you did bring other people in, but a lot of it was just you in your apartment. For so much of your career, it's obvious that you're into production, but this time you sort of upped the production value and worked a little bit harder on that part of it. And I know that you've mentioned, Trent Reznor as an inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one was interesting because I wanted to make a rock album, but not a rock album because it's 2024. Is that what year it is?
For a little while.
For a little while longer. Yeah, so I think I wanted to make it all of the sounds sort of very familiar. You know, the pillars of a rock band, like live drums and guitars and bass and stuff, but I also wanted to sort of screw them up or affect them and twist them so they sort of simultaneously sounded like something you had never heard before. So there was a lot of experimenting. I didn't really know what that sounded like. I just wanted to make something that sounded like I hadn't heard before either. So it was a lot of computer kind of bugging out and just trying a bunch of stuff out to until something felt like perfect or whacked out in the right way.
You know, you've compared the individual songs on this album to acts in a play. And yet at the same time, you say that you're still trying to figure out what the story of the album is. So how does that work?
Yeah, it feels like all of the scenes are set, all of the characters are cast, all of the sets are built, and to me it feels like this story that sort of is begging to be told, but there is, I like that it feels like there's a lot of room to sort of connect these characters and acts and scenes, like however, in whatever way that feels right to you. And I don't know that when I was doing the sequencing, they all started to sound like little vignettes and these really charged up, kind of quick scenes and stuff. And I started to see I don't know, it just felt kind of like a world to me. And I like kind of making up how these characters interact with each other and stuff.
You know, maybe a little nerdy, but I'm always really fascinated by sequencing on albums. And you started off with Return of the Goat, and you ended with music, and you seemed to be really sure that those were the right choices for those spots. What makes those songs the bookends?
Well, Return of the Goat just felt, I just knew it couldn't be anywhere but, it didn't have to be first, but I knew it couldn't be anywhere else, so I sort of ended up having to be first, and it felt sort of like a way to like drag the listener in, and sort of it slowly introduces all the elements that sort of are on the rest of the album piece by piece. It's just acoustic guitar, and then the drums come in, and then some feedback and stuff, and by the end of the song it's sort of gone awry in a kind of, what do you call it? Just like it gets totally chaotic by the end, and I felt like it was nice to sort of ease people into the record like that. And then music just felt like a proper ballad and a proper way to sort of sum up the experience of making this album. I do think it's sort of the record starts off very frenzied and sort of like a fever dream and blissed out and dangerous and stuff, and I think it sort of slowly comes into focus, and there's this sort of reckoning at the end where it's sort of like waking up from this wild dream that you had, which for me was spending 3 years making this record in the basement and going nuts. Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Joker, because, first of all, it's an earworm. Everybody here really loves it. And if you could just talk briefly about the pound as a metaphor.
Yeah, I was thinking the pound is a place for sort of the rejects or the lost or the confused or the unwanted and or like the misbehaved as well. And I think I have certainly felt like I've been in the pound before, whether it was my own doing or, so I just like the idea of, I almost think it's like a song about forgiveness, because you kind of picking this dog up or whoever up from this place, and they've done some wrong or they've screwed up at some point in their life, and I bring them back and kiss them on the mouth and kind of accept that we all make mistakes, and can recover.
You make these songs and you do it like in isolation in your basement, and you've got this metaphor and you're working on it, and then it becomes a popular song and somebody says we should make a video out of it. And so then here comes this other thing where the narrative may or may not match completely with the original intention. And the one kind of disconnect, it's a great video, don't get me wrong, but the one disconnect was when you listen to the song, I'm thinking, Aaron is the dog.
I should have been the dog.
Yeah.
That's cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That you should direct the next. We could we could make another video today. Get a dog costume at the Halloween store.
It would be hard to get the dog to do everything that you did in the video. That was probably a cost-cutting thing.
I mean, the people that that rented us the dog, they really spoke highly of that dog as a trained actor.
Hey, I thought that dog was yours, so that dog really did act as...
It was a beautiful dog.
Tail off.
And they did a great job. It was a puppy, but it didn't, it wasn't a great actor. It took a lot of takes to just get it to walk in a direction. But
I don't know that we can go any higher than we just went. So I think we should just stop. I mean, that was a moment, wasn't it? I think we shared something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Alright, girls. All my hair, all my clothes, all my drugs and rock and roll. And I love to feel the highs, and I love to feel lows. I love it when the music takes control. Yeah, 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 yeah. We got Dan English on guitar. All my life, all I've known, all it was rock and roll, and it was never meant to last, and I think it's time to go. I pray to God the music takes me home. Yeah. Thank you.